Goonies 2. Now this is a game I remember fondly playing when I was only about 8 years old. I loved the movie so much, I had to rush out and get the video game. But as much as I loved the movie, I just had the exact opposite reaction towards this game. Now before we even begin with the review, there's one thing that must be addressed. And that's the title of this game, which is called Goonies 2.
Yeah, you think?
Now, already I'm confused. So is this supposed to be a sequel to a movie? If this is the case, then I've got to admit, for a sequel of a big-time Hollywood movie to only be available on a video game format is just amazing.
If you get the wrong note, we'll all be flat.
So if that isn't the case, then it's got to be option 2, that this game is just a sequel to a previous video game. So if there is a Goonies 1 video game floating around out there, then I insist on playing that one first. I mean, what's worse than having to play your video games out of order? I mean, who in their right mind would play Castlevania 3 before Castlevania 1? The very thought of doing such a thing is just sickening, and I think it's punishable by death in a couple of countries. Fuck. But I've been to a lot of video game stores in my time, and I never once saw Goonies 1 sitting on any retail shelves. So maybe, just maybe, there's a third option to this enigma. Maybe someone just royally fucked up the numbering system on this game. I mean, this could be the same exact thing that happened to the Donkey Kong video games. Allow me to explain. First, there was the popular Donkey Kong video game, which became an instant classic. Then after that, Donkey Kong Jr. came out. This time you played as Donkey Kong's son. Then a few years later, out of nowhere comes Donkey Kong 3. How did this happen? Just what the hell happened to Donkey Kong 2? So, are we just picking numbers at random here? Or is Donkey Kong Jr. supposed to be the missing link here? If that's the case, then why aren't we calling Donkey Kong Jr. Donkey Kong 2? It would make a lot more sense than skipping directly from number 1 to number 3. In the long run, doing this kind of shit just messes everything up and confuses everyone in the process. So now it's time for us to answer this question. What exactly is the real reason for calling this game Goonies 2? Well, there actually was a Goonies 1 video game, and this is the sequel. But guess what? The game was only released in Japan. How come it always seems like we're getting fucked in the ass when it comes to game selection here in America? Talk about a shitload of shit. Now when you first start Goonies 2, you'll see the bad guys from the movie appear, and they'll tell you that they've broken out of jail and kidnapped your friend Annie. Annie? Who the hell's Annie? Was she in the film? Well, I've got the DVD, and I know for a fact she's not in it. So now begs the question, why does Mikey have to rescue her? Doesn't this town have any police officers to do this kind of work? And during the game, you also have to go around and help your other Goonies friends to escape. So how the hell did they end up getting kidnapped? You know, a little backstory would have helped here, because this video game storyline is more confusing than the fucking title. Now Goonies 2 is a very hard game to play. No, let me rephrase that. Goonies 2 is a very hard game to figure out. First off, there are no stages or levels to advance. And you just have to wander around aimlessly collecting items and trying to figure out where you can use them. Now the main thing you'll be doing in this game is collecting items like a hammer, some scuba gear, glasses, and using them in rooms like this in order to find hidden objects. And that becomes a whole long process too. Anything here? Nope. Okay, let's try the hammer on this wall. Nope. Now how about this wall? Okay, let's try this room. What the fuck? It would be more enjoyable to rip the hair out of my ass than to play this game. Now most of the time using your hammer on these walls reveals huge doors behind them. I guess whoever put up the drywall in this house really fucked up big time. Now look at here, another Goonie to rescue. You're braver than Brand? What the fuck is that supposed to mean? I can honestly say I've never heard this term used in my entire life. Oh, this game pisses me off. But let's talk about these rooms for a second. Half the time they don't even make no sense at all. Now when you push the up button on your control pad, the most logical action would be for your character to move forward. But sometimes pushing up on the control pad moves you backwards right out of the fucking room. I mean, come on! Can we at least keep some consistency in this game? But that's not all that doesn't make sense. On this screen, you'll see a gaping chasm to the right. If you fall into it, you die a horrible death. Now wait a minute. Over here is a ladder leading down to the next screen below. The exact same location where my character just died. I mean, there's nothing dangerous down here but another floor. I'm not sure why your character just can't fall down to the next screen below. Fuck! Now there are a lot of ladders and vines in this game that you'll have to end up climbing. But the downside is you can't use your weapons while you're on them. So when a bird or an enemy is coming at you, you've just gotta sit there like a bitch and take it. What the fuck? Now another thing that doesn't make any sense is when you die, you end up losing all the keys you've collected. I'm not sure why they chose to do this, but it just pisses me off when I really need one. Damn it, I just had 6 keys a minute ago. One of the greatest things about this game is the ability to hit people, or to smack them with your trusty hammer. Like this old, defenseless woman, what could be better than smashing your hammer into her old, wrinkled face? Yeah, take that! And that! And that! What did she just say? What do you do? That doesn't make sense. Does she mean, what did you do? I can't even take pleasure in beating her up because some asshole forgot to proofread this game. And how do you miss something like this? Every character in the game says this line if you hit them. It just totally flips my shit. Now after you've saved all your friends, you can now go and save Annie. So after saving Annie, we find out that she's not even a Goonie at all, but a mermaid. Boy, whose stupid fucking idea was this? This ending makes no sense whatsoever. Now after you save Annie, a news reporter appears on the screen and tells you that Annie has been saved and the bad guys have been arrested. Excuse me, but aren't we missing the bigger story here? Annie's a fucking mermaid! Shouldn't this be the top news story for today? I gotta say that finding a mermaid would be a pretty groundbreaking event. But just like this game, this ending makes no sense whatsoever. So, I'm gonna be like Mike, and I'm gonna use that hammer he collected and beat the shit out of this game.